Mr. Belden, we're going to start with an introduction. S- Start us off by telling our community who you are and why you're running for the City Council District D. What values and lived experience would you bring to that job?
My name is Belden Batiste. I started out 14 years old working with Jerome Smith, who is a freedom rider. At 14 years old, I was privileged to run a day camp, and I was responsible for 800 kids. I was responsible for 30 adult workers and 100 youth workers. I have worked in the community 30 plus years, boots on the ground, fighting, advocating. I got a proven track record, and I got real leadership. Why I ran? Because District D has been neglected for far too long. We have had three present councilmen with 12 years in District D. District D is is being neglected at the end of the day. Nothing not happening when I'm on the ground talking to the residents, advocating for the residents, working in the community. They say nothing is happening in District D. When we look at the infrastructure, when we look at the sewage and water board, when we look at energy, when we look at the quality of life, when we look at the potholes, the city permits, all that have failed. And at the end of the day, they need a true leader. They need one of us. So I look at myself as the people's candidate, and I'm going to fight for the people. And one of the big monsters I want to fight against is energy, because when you look at energy, it's a monopoly of money controlled by council members. And at the end of the day, they sold our gas company to Delta Utilities. And at the end of the day, they didn't talk to the citizens. They just sold the energy company. So we need a true leader that's going to fight in District D, and also I want to fight against this facial recognition bill, because at the end of the day, when you're looking at facial recognition, me and the present councilman went on a hot seat, and he said yes, he support facial recognition. But if you look around the world with the FBI, the CIA, law partners say it, in the ACU, the ACLU, it says it's biased towards black people. So how can you vote something in that's biased towards black people, but just not that? They want to help the NOLA cameraman with the cameras. And at the end of the day, that technology they're gonna use, they can eavesdrop on your phone. They can pick wrong people, which will be black people. So anything harming my people, I'm against. So when he said that, I was alarmed about it. So that's why I'm running for District D, to bring real change and fight for the people.
Okay, Mr. Belden, okay. It's your turn.
So you support exploring public ownership of the electric utility and holding energy accountable. What near-term tools will you use with energy and sewage and water board, and one concrete bill relief resilience step you'll deliver in District D?
Well, in District D, the whole energy accountable, one thing you can use is the city charter. The city charter gives the council its powers. Do you see the city council powers is given by the city charter? Now we hear they want to change the city charter, but why won't we change the city charter towards people? Won't we take the energy company and let it be controlled by the people at the end of the day? And then we'll know that it's being ran the right way. So that's the steps I'll take, and I'll hold energy accountable. That's why I'm running my own campaign. That's why I ain't taking donations from certain people. A lot of people have took money from energy, so that's why energy is still controlling. That's why the gas company was sold. If you look at Delta Utilities, that they sold the gas company to, that was the Shaw Group. And the Shaw Group, everybody know who the Shaw Group was. During Katrina, the Shaw Group did harm to the city of New Orleans. So at the end of the day, you got to hold them accountable. You got to have transparency. You got to have integrity. You got to have honesty. And that's what I will bring to the council. Just because my council members voting to go with energy that don't mean I have to follow their suit. I'm going to do what's right for the people and hold hold energy and the Sewage and Water Board accountable. And one of the things I'll propose, I don't think the mayor should be over Sewage and Water Board. I want everyday people that's paying their bills on the Sewage and Water Board, standing and holding them accountable. And the council do regulate energy, but energy get away with cop murder. And at the end of the day, we need a leader that's not gonna let them get away with cop murder.
Okay.
Thank you.
Another question for you. Neighbors deal with flooding, potholes, illegal dumping, blight, missed trash, and slow recovery. What's your 90-day plan to deliver visible fixes in hotspot corridors? And will you back an equity-based infrastructure schedule with public dashboards and contractor scorecards?
Yes, I love the dashboards and the scorecards, but I want for District D, I want a big dashboard. I want to know what every contractor doing. I want to know if we out there with energy, we can look at the dashboard and make sure they're doing the job. I want to go after the contractors on the dashboard because they have did it. Now with the trash, I think with the trash, people are paying 2 times a week. 2 times for them to pick up a trash a week, but they only get 1 day service. So at the end of the day, we got to deal with that. See, we got a council and they got powers, but they're not using their powers to deal with that. Now with the blight, I will go after the people that's doing the blight, but before the houses get the blight, I want to help people save their houses. Because when we looking at LLCs, we looking at corporations, they're coming here stealing people properties, or they're forcing the people where they can't pay their property with the insurance costs, and at the end of the day, the property become blight. But at the end of the day, nobody holding the rich people who own these houses for the blight, but the little poor people, they'll wipe the little poor people out and put fines. No, we want equity and inclusion for everyone. Everyone gonna be held accountable in District D. It ain't no friendship. That's why I ain't doing nothing strange for a little change. That's why I'm taking my campaign and trying to fund it myself. Now, if people want to fund my campaign, I'm asking for $1 or $10. But I don't want no big money because I don't want to have to owe no landlords or nobody favors. Right now on the books, we got the healthy homes. And at the end of the day, that's just on the books. They're not putting that in motion. They're just got a law on the book called a healthy home law, but they are not enforcing that. So I will deal with the blight. I will deal with the high grass. I will deal with it and be liable. If the people don't want it, we don't need it. That's the kind of councilman I'm going to be.
Now, Mr. Belden, you've said phase 3 of the jail should have never been built, but also that the existing jail needs funding. Will you tie the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office dollars to staffing healthcare benchmarks and pause expansions if they're missed? And do you support fully funding MAT? How will you enforce access and continuity of care at release?
So when you say, what you say, MAC?
MAT, yeah, medication
All
assisted treatment.
Yes, phase 3 should have never been built with the jail. At the end of the day, we look at a sheriff that need funding immediately. We look at sheriff officers that go to work and get paid $12 when they should get paid more. We know the medicine is a problem, but we're looking at a council that refuse to fund the sheriff. When I'm looking at the council, some of the council members are just doing what they're doing, but we got to fund the jail. We got to give the sheriff all the resources she needs. We saw that inmates escape, but at the end of the day, they just pointed the finger at who? The sheriff. But the whole criminal justice system should have been pointed at, because the sheriff asked them. She asked them like 9 months or 12 months to fix the lock. Did they fix it? No. We know people sick in the jail. We know people need medication. There's money in the city budget to give the sheriff for that. And I'll give you a better one than that. We take care of 63 parishes with our culture money. What the the Superdome, the arena with the festival money. Won't we start taking some of that money and getting it to the jail to really fully fund the jail? The jail is not really funded right now. She's fighting for sheriff deputy. She got to go to the council and they refuse her. At the end of the day, we got to keep the jail we got. We don't even need phase 3. But at the end of the day, they took the money from NORD to help build phase 3 when they could have took that money and fully funded the jail like it should be funded.
Okay. Anti-displacement tools. You pointed to using the city charter zoning land use powers. Which specific ordinances would you file first, and how will you fund and measure success?
What Pacific, you say what Pacific I will file
Which
first?
specific ordinances would you file first, and how will you fund and measure success?
Well, the ordinance got a lot of provisions in it, so it's hard to say which one I'll fund first. But I will use the provisions. If it comes to land use, there's something in the charter that address land use. There's a provision. Each provision I will use of the charter, and that's how I will fund the success and make sure everything is right with funding and using the charter. Right now you're looking at a city council say they want to amend the charter, right? But they want to amend the charter for the wrong things. Why can't we amend the charter to reference to the people and the everyday needs of the people and the youth and the jail, and making sure that those things are fully funded? But they want to use the charter for their own. So I can just speak for me on the council. I'm going to use the charter where I see fit. And what that charter, let me tell you, we can hold a trial, we can subpoena people to come, and the council refused to do that because some of them are their friends, some of them are their partners. But under me, when I'm elected for District D, I'm not playing none of that. I'm going fully funding everything I need to fund because the money sits there. They got money in the general fund you can fund the jail with. They got different pots of money are just sitting there. They find money for what they want, but why can't we find money for the needs of everything that we need in the city? You know what I'm saying? It's not rocket science. You should fund the jail and fund it, fully funded. But watch, at the end of the day, I'm going to be smoking on there. I'm not coming to play. I'm coming to bring real results because I don't owe nobody nothing in this city but the people and the taxpayers that's going to vote me in to have that seat.
You favor an oversight medical care board, including voices of people in custody, to monitor the jail's medical contractor. What penalties and public reporting will you require, and how will you ensure IDs, meds in hands, appointments, and housing referrals at release?
At release?
Yes.
Well, at the end of the day, I will have partners and I will work with people that have been in the system. I will talk to them and see the best protocols, how to handle it. See, the problem is with the city council, they don't deal with groups such as y'all and other partners. They pick who they're going to deal with and they don't listen to the people. But if you're listening to the people, you're listening to your partners, that's the best protocols you can use to deal with it. You got to work with your partners. You got to bring people in that then been in the system, that know how the system should go. And at the end of the day, you can build from there and understand more of what you're doing.
Thank you.
I have a question on youth opportunities, summer 2026. You call current NORD summer funding a disgrace, and want more jobs in programming. What 3 deliverables will District D see by next summer, and how will you recruit and pay local groups to run them?
Pay local groups to run them?
Recruit
What?
and pay local groups to run them.
All right, and let me start off like this. One, the last 5 years, the city has been a disgrace to our young people because they have worked in the NORD program, and for 5 years I had to fight for them to get these checks. One summer, it took them 3 months to pay the kids at the end of the day when the money is already in the budget. The money is already there. People want to partner with Nod, but they're scared that when they're partnering with Nod, Nod is doing them wrong. See, it's easy. I know a lot of people I can get to partner with Nod and come here to do things for kids and youth and everything. And I know how to fully fund them. Again, the money is in the budget to fully fund them, but they're not using the general fund money, or they're not using other parts of money. Right now in the city, we got $365 million that the mayor has not touched yet. And that could have went to fully funding the kids. But also, then we got 4 black colleges. We got Delgado, we got Suno, we got Dillard, we got Xavier. Won't we bring them in as partners and start training these children for skill jobs and career jobs where they can start making 6-figure jobs? Because we are looking at the port and other things coming here, but they already bring their workers here. But at the end of the day, they tell us that our kids ain't trained. So why not build with the 4 colleges and start training our youth and getting them ready for skill and career jobs? And when you get them trained for skill and career jobs and you're putting money in their pockets, you're getting economic opportunity. You won't have murder, you won't have crime, because you're getting them hope. We have lost hope with our youth. We don't get to the root causes of crime. We don't look at the root causes of crime. Our children are crying out for help right now. And at the end of the day, the city of New Orleans, Nord, have showed our children they're going to neglect them. Our children got to go out to Jefferson Parish to play sports. Our children do not want to participate in the Nord program. And when you're not paying the kids, I don't blame them at the end of the day. So I want to bring unity here. I want to unify and make sure we build in the best program for the youth, because every child I want to participate in Nord. Somebody might want to do carpenting. Somebody might want to do plumbing. Somebody might want to be a sports writer, a doctor, a nurse. So that's why I want to work with these 4 black colleges, because like the sister over here sitting with that Delgado program, Delgado got a great program. They got a nursing program. They got a mechanic program, but our children are not taking advantage of it because nobody not pushing them. So one of the things I want to do is build something called a youth congress in District D, and I'm hoping it venture out to every district where we can have the tools and we can build this youth congress and let them build a platform, but just not do that. We give all the resources. In the city, I want to have 5 resource centers in District D where they can come and get information about all the opportunities such as Delgado and other parts have. Also, I want to bring back tutoring back to the parks. We used to have after school tutoring at the park I work, and that worked for the kids. But we have got away from that. Nord has tremendous field, and not because of Larry Balbino, because of this Nord Foundation, because of this Nord Commission. At-risk kids, certain kids can't play at Nord because they can't buy socks, because they can't buy a helmet, because they can't buy a shoulder pad. Some of the parks are charging the children saying pay to play. So the children living in poverty is always left out. The children living at risk is always left out. I want to change that culture in New Orleans. I want to build a Nord like Morris F. Jeff did, the first black director of Nord. I want to be like Dutch Moriel. He came with ideas. So we got to build for our youth, and we got to show them that we love them. And at the end of the day, we got to come with programs. And that's what I'm going to build in Council District D. And not just that, being a councilman of District D, you vote on citywide issues. So they ain't going to shut me up, because I'm going to be one of us in the room. And when something happen, I'm coming to the community to let them know what councilmen is selling them out in the back door deals.
Okay.
You oppose expanding facial recognition, predictive policing, and broad LPR networks. Will you support a moratorium on expansions until guardrails are in law? And which ordinance would you file first?
You say garden.
Guardrails
Garden rails or what?
are in law.
And what bills would I file
And what
first?
ordinance would you file first?
The first ordinance I will file is to make sure that we are banning facial recognition the right way. Because at the end of the day, we saw a council banned it like 4 years ago. Here we go now, we are being faced back with it. And at the end of the day, we know facial recognition is biased, but just not that. I want other things done with the NOPD. We got a police consent decree, but it works sometimes. Sometimes it don't work. We know we got a president in trying to get rid of the consent decree. He can do that any day now. But at the end of the day, if I'm the councilman, I'm going to hold them accountable. I'm going to make sure we're addressing bias towards black people, and I'm going to make sure when they're pushing facial recognition, I'm holding them accountable. And really, I'm just saying this in here, I want to be over the Criminal Justice Board. The Criminal Justice Committee, because I think it's more I can do. It's more I can do with the groups. There's more that I can bring the groups in there, being over the Criminal Justice Committee, and put all these groups together and let them craft the best ways to deal with the crime and facial recognition and other things. So I got big dreams for District D, but I got big dreams for myself, because I definitely want to be over the Criminal Justice Board. I want to hold the police accountable. I want to make sure that they're doing everything by the book. Stop frisking black people. Stop arresting innocent people. And that's what facial recognition is.
Okay. Non-police crisis response. You said you'll work with the health department, hospitals, and even existing downtown outreach teams. How will you integrate a civilian crisis response with 911, 311 dispatch in District D? And which grassroots providers will you fund first so people get help, not handcuffs, during mental health and addiction crises?
Well, I'll have to look at a lot of the groups. But what are the groups now? Because y'all interviewing me, I'll fund Vote. Because Vote have did a lot of work in the community. No Cops have did a lot of work. I want to film them type of groups. With the health department, I will work with the health department. I will work with the hospitals. But at the end of the day, you ask me right now about the health department, I'm unsure of some things because they got all this violence money. But you ask me, I don't think some of the groups that's doing the violence intervention or the crisis they're doing, they don't qualify for that money, because I don't see nothing they do. We got to find the groups that's really doing the work, the groups that they don't give the money to, and work with them at the end of the day. So this health department got a big budget, and they got millions for they talking about killing and violence and everything, and they talk about they bring them to children's hospital, and then they say they got this thing at City Hall, they bring them to this room, put them in this little chair. All that is a joke. Until we start addressing the real roots of crime and dealing with the real groups that's busting their butt out here every day and doing it, we ain't doing nothing. At the end of the day, we must stop the corruption, we must stop the sexism, the favoritism, the nepotism, and the cronyism. And when we stop that, then we can start addressing the violence groups. Then we can start talking about crime. But everybody, we got to give that's doing the work a chance. Some groups don't never get at the table. And when they get at the table, they don't want to talk to the group, because the group's talking right and giving them great and brilliant ideas, but they don't want that. They want ideas where they're not going to solve violence, where they can keep on stealing money and keep on playing like they're doing a program. But under my administration, we going to keep it real, and I'm not afraid to call nobody out and to hold nobody accountable.
So, part of that question was, which grassroots providers would you fund first for people to get help?
Well, I told you I'll fund Vote, I'll fund No Cops, I'll fund. They got this mental group that's out there doing mental illness. I forgot the name. I'll look for groups that's really doing the work. But I'm not going to fund groups that's not doing the work. You know what I'm saying? Because right now we got a mental crisis because we don't have mental hospitals. Bobby Jindal got rid of the mental hospitals. So as being on a council and being over the criminal justice committee, I'll be asking for money to bring back mental hospitals and real groups and stuff like that, because there's many groups you can say you're going to fund out there, but you got to look at the groups that's really doing the work. If I had a list before me, I can tell you all of them I'll fund.
Okay. Okay, great.
Now you pledge to defend home rule, uphold sanctuary practices, and support a Gaza ceasefire resolution. How will you protect protest rights and immigrant access to services while keeping communities safe, especially if the states push preemption of ICE cooperation mandates?
Well, on the city level, you can only do so much, but at the end of the day, you got people in Baton Rouge that you can go lobby and talk to. Whether you got to talk to the Republicans, we know their views and everything, but you got to work with some people to try to help them. But at the end of the day, I will do everything in my power in the city to protect immigrants' rights. I will protect them from ICE. But if it goes to another level, I would call on my Baton Rouge people and also call on my congressmen to fight. But I'll do everything in my power to protect their rights.
So, what type of resources would you provide to protesters who want to peacefully protest?
Resources, when you say resources, what you meaning, like? Because you're saying if they want a peaceful protest, I can allow resources to them because I'm going to be out there protesting with them. That's one. But two, if there's funding I can find for them, that's good too. But what I would do is stand on the council and ask the council to protect them while they peacefully protesting, that nothing be home to them no home come to them. But if I'm over the criminal justice committee, whoever the police chief is, I want them to be accountable to not messing with nobody when they're peaceful protesting, because I think is a right of freedom of speech, is your right to protest. And all my life I've been protesting. I didn't stood up to the police in Selma, Alabama at 13 years old with Jerome Smith when they threatened to put me in jail. So at the end of the day, I'm not going to go for none of that crap. I'm going to do everything in the power of the city of New Orleans to make sure we're fighting to protect protesters. Now, one time I might have to go to jail with the protesters. I can't tell you I'm not. But at the end of the day, I will hold them accountable no matter who's the police chief, no matter if it's the governor. I will go toe-to-toe to him. I'll go toe-to-toe with Donald Trump. But I will do everything in my power to protect the protesters. If we got to pass a bill, we got to pass a resolution, I'm with that. But at the end of the day, I'm going to fight no matter what.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Belden, violence prevention and accountability. You kind of was already in that area just now. You questioned where the health department's violence prevention dollars go. If elected, what structural changes, public dashboard, independent audits, community grant making, performance contracts, will you champion to ensure year-round community-led safety programs are funded and evaluated?
That's great. That's a great question. That's why I want to be over the criminal justice committee, because at the end of the day, I can propose that money can go there. And even I talk about the charter. Again, they want to amend the charter. Why not amend the charter for what you just said? We can amend the charter, but we can make sure funding there. The health department got all kinds of money. If it come to me doing the audit, stripping them and doing it myself, or asking the council to get involved to make sure the money is going to the right people for violence prevention, that's what I'm willing to do.
Okay, thank you.
Well, we want to thank you so much for joining us. Before we wrap it up, What final message would you like to leave with the residents of District D and how you'll deliver and stay accountable?
Well, the first message I like to deliver, I'm Belden Batiste, number 43 on the ballot. And I will be accountable. And if I'm not accountable, I like to recall people so you can recall me. You can fire me. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to be accountable to the people, and I'm going to fight with the people, hold laws by the people, and stand for the people. At the end of the day, if you want empty promises and false dreams, I'm not your candidate, because I am a people's candidate. All my life I have advocated for the people, have came out of my pocket and stood it for the people, have fighted at City Hall for the people, have been in Baton Rouge, have traveled over across the country to fight for the people. And it's a time for a change in District D, because the results we are getting is not real in District D. People are hurting, people are suffering. Our young people deserve better, and they deserve hope, and they need jobs. And when we are looking at the district, I'm going to bring the biggest economic boom you ever saw to District B, because I'm going to help the small business owners. I want to help the locals first. I want to bring other businesses here, but we got to take care of our own. We got to put everyday people in businesses. We got to bring people that never got contracts and got the bond and the things to get contracts. So that's what I'm bringing to District D. I'm bringing real results and transparency, accountability, and integrity, and I'm going to fight like never before. When you got trouble on your hand, you're going to be able to call Councilman Nooney Man. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Brown. Thank you. I have been